For most people, traditional fishing, well, for some people, traditional fishing can be boring.
Although it has its dangers, some fishermen are hooked on noodling, a form of extreme fishing using nothing but your bare hands.
We found a 28-year veteran noodler in northeast Oklahoma willing to show us the tricks of the trade.
Grand Lake. It's a catfish haven of sorts, a fisherman's paradise. But for some anglers, there's no rod, reel, hook, line, or sinker. They're using their bare hands.
The first fish I caught, it was such a rush, I was just hooked.
Literally.
Yeah, hooked. Yeah.
Jeff Tipton invited us to his property to show us around. A welding instructor by school year, he spends his summers at the lake doing what he loves, noodling.
When you hit the cool water and go down in the fish's elements and wrestle with them, it's just indescribable. It's just a rush.
But pulling fish out of the water using only your hands isn't the only thing Jeff sees in the sport.
When we take guys for the first time, it's a joke that we play. We tell them to go in, run their arm up in the hole and do this till the fish comes. So that's just part of the camaraderie of this deal.
What he's joking about is safety. He explained you should always keep your fingers closed or into a fist so the fish doesn't bite down on a single digit, leaving the potential for injury. But for Jeff and his buddies, it's something they can joke about. There may be nothing else like it, but just like every other sport, there are rules noodlers must follow.
Let's talk about a little bit about regulations. What kind of fish can you catch here?
You can catch 3 flathead catfish a day per person, and they have to be over 20 inches long. You can't keep any less than 20 inches. You'll catch some blue catfish, but the law requires that you turn those loose.
So this is my first time. What goals do you have for me today?
My objective for you today is to catch a fish that's at least 10 pounds, hopefully bigger. And I think we can pull that off if luck's with us.
I had butterflies in my stomach. I've never been noodling or even scuba diving, and I knew it would be a challenge the first time. Once we arrived at our first location, I geared up. I put on a 25-pound weight belt. Jeff explained I would need it to stay underwater. And then I strapped on my air tank.
Now just drop it. There you go.
Whew. Outside the water, it was heavy and more than a little awkward.
Go ahead and try to breathe in.
I decided it would be a good idea to start by laying in the water and getting used to breathing through the regulator before diving in with a task in hand. It was time to look for our first fish. Once underwater, I couldn't see anything 2 inches past my face. The water was dark, murky, kind of like chocolate milk. Jeff searched the first area, but
nothing there.
No luck. We had only searched one spawning hole, but I was already beginning to feel nervous. After a long drive and a lot of preparation, I wanted more than anything to be successful. We decided to move further down the bank. Jeff explained he'd help me find the hole, but I'd be pulling the fish out on my own. Communication is limited when you can't see past your nose. Jeff told me he would tap on my head once if it was a small fish and twice for a big one. This time it was one tap. I could feel mud, slime, and then all of a sudden, something sharp. The fish bit down hard on the 3 middle fingers of my left hand.
I got one.
Before stringing the fish, I could feel the hundreds of tiny sandpaper-like teeth tearing through my glove. I couldn't wait to let go.
Get this puppy in the boat!
Unfortunately, this one was not a keeper. It was a blue.
We were unable to keep that fish since it was not a flathead catfish, but Oklahoma legislation passed in April will allow noodlers to keep the blues starting next season. And of course, there's more to it than just pulling a fish out of its nesting hole. You have to actually grab the fish with one hand, then the other, flip it over so it becomes disoriented, and string it up with a rope stringer and pull it up to the surface. It's a lot of work.
It looks like it was a lot of fun, though, too.
It was, yeah.
Now, there are dangers involved. As if that's not dangerous enough, it's recommended that you not try noodling unless you're with somebody who's done that before and knows what they're doing.
That's right. Well, coming up after the break, without a fish we can keep, we move to another location. But will I be able to make a big catch? Find out next.
Well, before the break, we met Jeff Tipton, a 28-year veteran noodler in northeast Oklahoma, who invited Tawnya along to see what noodling is all about.
But with no luck so far, it was time to move to another location.
We'd been on the lake for at least an hour, maybe two. The first dive,
Nothing there.
no luck.
I got one.
The second time, a blue catfish we couldn't keep, the rule dictated by the law of Oklahoma. But that law changes with the next noodling season, and noodlers will be able to keep those blues. Once we reached the bank of our next location, we put our gear back on. Jeff told me he's caught some big fish in the area we're about to dive into. This time I felt 2 taps on my head, meaning this one was a big fish. I forgot to breathe for a moment. I reached in and right away felt the cat clamp down on my hand. I pulled with all my strength to wrangle the beast to the surface, but I couldn't touch.
Here, come where you can touch. This way. Give me a hand.
I was ready to stay with the fish, even if he pulled me under.
Holy moly!
But I was lucky and strong enough to overpower him.
I don't know if I can lift it up.
This flathead was the big catch of the day, weighing in at 35 pounds, and I was the one who pulled it up and out.
Yeah. Okay, give it a heave-ho. First of all, let's check out these gill things.
I was out of breath, but excited and ready to go under again.
Number 2 for Tawnya.
We found the 35-pounder's female mate in the same spawning hole. At 25 pounds, she was a piece of cake compared to her man, but she still put up a fight.
My hand. Take the glove then.
Not just one, but 2 big catches. And with fish like those, there's only one thing to do: weigh in and eat.
Wow. Way to go, girl.
My 35-pounder outweighed the rest of the day's catch. My other 2, one 25-pounder and another, weighing in at 12 pounds.
Okay, let's weigh yours.
Jeff caught 3 of his own, weighing in at 12, 20, and 30 pounds.
We had a good day. We had a real good day.
A 35-pound flathead, how much meat can you get out of that? Good meat.
Good, clean meat, probably 8 to 10 pounds.
With a fish that big and stomachs growling, it was time to clean so we could eat. And if you have a weak stomach, you may want to look away just for a bit. Jeff explained the cleaning technique he's been perfecting for the past 28 years. Using an electric knife, he follows the rib bones to cut off large pieces of fish and avoids the enteral cavity and what he calls red meat, an area of blood passages that gives the fish a strong catfish flavor.
What is the best part of the fish to eat and why?
The belly meat, no doubt, on a flathead is the best. It's a coarser meat, and that's just what we all go for.
The highlight of his cleaning technique is getting the best tasting fish. He stressed the importance of letting the fish bleed out completely and making sure you cut off any meat that's not snow white. With a family eating fish 3 times a week, you can imagine how much time Jeff spends at the lake, only being able to catch 3 a day. But it doesn't stop him from sharing his good fortune.
All of my family eats fish, and I give a lot of fish to friends and neighbors. And there's a lot of older people in the community that expect fish from me every year. And as long as I can, I'll always make sure that they get fish.
Just like the hospitality Jeff shows his neighbors and his community, he treated us to catfish coated in his special blend of yellow cornmeal, Cajun seasoning, and a dash of Zatarain's, cooked no other way than deep fried.
It's not the healthiest, but it's the best.
That was some of the best catfish I'd ever ate that day.
Well, it's probably some of the freshest you've probably ever eaten.
Yeah, and I think I ended up bringing a cooler home as well. I mean, you get 10
You still got
pounds
some
of those
left,
big,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Working my way through it.
Okay.
Enjoying every minute of it.
Feel free to bring some in.
I could maybe do that.
Cold catfish is good too.
So what do you think? Did you think I could catch fish like that?
I'm surprised. It's
You doubted me?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I'm really surprised at how big that fish was. It was 35 pounds?
35 pounds. And I mean, we could have just had a day where we only found 10 pounders, but I lucked out.
It was a good day.
It was. It was a lot of fun.
All right, we'll be right back.